Hello and welcome back to another Premier League predictions video. We're now up to game week 11 before we have the last international break of this calendar year. I know a lot of people don't like them, but we love them. We love them. We actually do have the privilege of going to a match, and it's really hotting up, isn't it, for Wales in the Nations League. But it is Premier League that we're to talk about. Last week, Arsenal and Manchester City both losing, and Liverpool getting a foothold or really being cemented at the top of the Premier League. Can Arsenal and Manchester City bounce back? We're about to find out.
So no Friday nights this week, no middays this week. We're starting at 3 o'clock. It has been like a decade since this. Like it's refreshing.
3 weeks,
I know, probably been about 3 weeks. But aside from that, starting off at 3 o'clock between Brentford and Bournemouth at the G-Tech. Now Brentford, what a collapse that was in the West London derby to Fulham. I was so impressed with Fulham the way they won that game. Brentford showed a good account of themselves, but then dropped off. Bournemouth, however, on the other hand, in excellent form, getting a good result against Manchester City. A game that is always a goal fest down there on the south coast, and Bournemouth do it again, so I was correct again, just minus the scoreline. So where do I go with this one? Sadly, I can't really back Brentford here. I was okay with how they played against Fulham. However, you can't not back Bournemouth at the moment with some of their victories and the way they've been playing. So 2-1.
Yeah, Bournemouth absolutely fantastic with that victory over Manchester City. Who saw that coming? And Brentford losing in the death against Fulham. Harry Wilson coming on with a couple of goals in the 8 minutes appearance that he had for Fulham. In this one though, Brentford have won 4 of their 5 fixtures at home at the G-Tech this season, whereas Bournemouth have struggled away. So I'm actually going to go, I think it'll be tight, but I'm going to go for a home win in this one just before international break. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to the Bees. Next up, also at 3 o'clock on Saturday, we've got Crystal Palace coming up against Fulham. We'll have to wait and see if Harry Wilson is rewarded for that late brace against Brentford with the amount of minutes in this match. They're coming up against the Crystal Palace side who, they've stopped the rot a little bit with a draw last time out against Wolves, and prior to that it was a very, very good victory against Tottenham. I think Eze may still be missing from this fixture. Fulham look class at the moment, so I'm going to go for another victory to Fulham in this one, in this all-London affair. I'm going to go for Palace 0, Fulham 1.
Yeah, the way Fulham came back in that game was just phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
And the first goal.
Oh, Harry Wilson back-heeling it, top bins in front of that, what was it, the Putney end? No, not the Putney end, the Hammersmith end, the other one. How many times?
I don't think limbs have ever been seen as good in that stand.
All the happy clappers spamming their way through with their victorious sponge in that grandstand. But aside from that, getting back onto the game, Palace, they have stopped the rot, but they're not scoring many goals, and that's where I get a bit worried for them. So I'm going for a sweep out 2-0 Fulham.
Sweep out is an Americanism.
Trump's just won the presidency, so we might as well sneak one in there. But moving on, another 3 o'clock, West Ham up against Everton. Now Everton, I can never really know what to tell with them, or West Ham in fact for that. They're just so inconsistent at the moment, and I know there's pressure on David Sullivan to maybe even get rid of Mr. Lopetegui as well, getting battered 3-0 by Nottingham Forest the last time around. So where do I go with this one? 2 inconsistent teams cancel each other out, aren't they? 1-1.
Exactly the same as you. Nathan Kudus is missing this one, and I think his ban has been increased to something like 5 fixtures now, which is absolutely crazy. The Hammers came a cropper in their last fixture as well, being smashed 3-0 by a resurgent Nottingham Forest, or an excellent Nottingham Forest, because they're up to 3rd position in the Premier League at the moment. Everton, don't know what you're going to get. A defeat last time against Southampton. Who would have thought? I think I predicted a win to Everton in that one last time out. So I'm going to go for a draw, as we said, 1-1. Next up, we've got Wolves coming up against Southampton. This is 20th against 19th. Massive fixture, this one at Molineux. Wolves have been scoring. Southampton could be boring the opposition to death. Got their first win of the season last weekend with that 1-0 victory over Everton. And they did quite well away against Manchester City prior to that too. So they'll make things tough. I think they'll score at Molineux, but I think Wolves will just come through this one with a 2-1 victory.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this, just with the way Wolves have been playing. I just can't back them for a victory at the moment. Southampton, I know they're going to bore them to death, but we've seen it way too many times in the Championship last season. With the lack of... Well, Wolves are scoring, but I just think with what's going on at the moment, I'm going to give my first 0-0 of the season. Yeah, 0-0. Anyway, 5:30 on Sky. Brighton up against Man City. Man City losing 2 on the bounce.
3 now, actually.
Well, 3 on the bounce, ignore me. Bournemouth as well, and then they lost to Sporting Lisbon, and
Spurs in the Carabao.
Yeah, Spurs in the Carabao Cup I completely forgot about, but even with Sporting they got battered 4-1. A, Ruben Amorim, and B, a player at the start of his Championship career for a certain club. He was as much use as a cucumber. He was absolutely shocking as a football player.
We've seen the sandwiches, though.
I know. Well, yes, but at the end of the day, we've seen him. We've seen him, and we know him at his worst, Mr. Yorker. So, yeah, not good there for Man City, and Haaland's not scoring either at the moment. Brighton, another tricky customer, aren't they? A bit inconsistent, but they're doing okay in games. So, and like Liverpool, they've been grafting as of late, haven't they? So it's hard to tell. Pep's going to have them bounce back in 2-1, but this always happens at this point in the season with Man City. Every single season, always hit a rough patch.
Yeah, difficult one to predict, this one for me. Brighton did ever so well against Liverpool last weekend. I think they went 1-0 up in that fixture. I think it was the lunchtime kick-off as well on Saturday.
Never back the early kick-off.
Wasn't it? And Manchester City against Sporting Lisbon, they had so many chances in that first half. Haaland had 3 decent chances and normally puts one of those away, missing a penalty as well. But defensively, they were all over the place. The amount of space they left Yorker to get through, and he missed a sitter as well in the first half, getting a couple of penalties himself. This one, you'd expect Manchester City to get all 3 points. However, I've been impressed here with Brighton. Man City coming back into the Premier League after another disappointing European night. I'm going to have to go 1-1. I think Brighton will carve out a 1-1 draw in this one. And the last fixture on Saturday takes place at 8 o'clock. This is on TNT in the UK. We've got Liverpool coming up against Aston Villa. Liverpool, thumping, you've got to say, Bayer Leverkusen, who were absolutely awesome last season, 3-0 at Anfield.
And Xavi Alonso coming back to Anfield as well. That's a good result. That
was on Tuesday evening. Aston Villa currently in action away against Club Brugge. I think it's 0-0 as at the time of recording.
Double check on that. No, Club Brugge are winning. Wow.
So they had a disastrous defeat in the Premier League last time out against Spurs.
They just fell apart in that one.
I think it's going to be the same here as well. Solanke getting amongst the goals for Spurs as well. So, there's something wrong there at Villa, but they are currently in 6th position. But I fully expect Liverpool to take all 3 points in this one, and I'm going to go for a 3-0 victory to Liverpool at Anfield.
I'm going to be a bit contrasting here. So, in my opinion, with Arsenal and Man City, obviously both losing and going into poor form, now is not the time that Villa or Liverpool want to be playing Villa, because at the end of the day, Villa are going to be gunning to push up the table and cement themselves, even getting above Arsenal or Man City, for example. And then Liverpool, they want to extend their lead at the top, which is always tough. And they're only grafting out results, Liverpool, excluding, obviously, the Leverkusen results. So Emery's going to have Villa bounce back for me, but let's go wild. Let's see 1-1.
1-1.
Anyway, moving on, starting off with 2 o'clock on Sunday, Man United against Leicester. Now, Amorim obviously coming in soon. I don't think he's going to be in charge at that time. Just been very cagey, as we know, with Man United. First game under Van Nistelrooy was a little bit of an improvement. Whereas Leicester, they're just grafting out results, aren't they? They did decent against Ipswich, but could have lost that game as well, and they're beating who they should have. So let's go really narrow. I can see Leicester sneaking a result here, but 1-0 Man United.
Yeah, Leicester. The Foxes seem to get on the score sheet each and every match, and I think they'll get a goal here.
It's normal with a Steve Cooper side, to be fair.
I think they've got a goal here at Old Trafford, but these Man United players will be wanting to impress the new manager. I think it's just the 1 win in the league in their last 6 matches, but I think they should take all 3 points in this one. Looking dangerous going forward, but not actually finishing many of those chances off. Bruno Fernandes, getting a goal at long last recently as well. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to the Red Devils in this one. Next up, also at 2 o'clock, but this one's live on Sky in the UK. We've got Nottingham Forest coming up against Newcastle. Newcastle with that phenomenal result last weekend against Arsenal, where they won 1-0.
They look very good, actually.
Arsenal, you could say, missing a few players.
Yeah.
Surprising Saka was playing in that match. And Nottingham Forest going from strength to strength. An absolute demolition of West Ham, the Hammers. In
Forest are looking like what they were playing in the late 70s, early 80s at the moment.
I think they'll get all 3 points in this one. It won't go all their own way. Defensively, they're brilliant, Forest. So I think they'll edge this one. I'm going to go for a 1-0 scoreline to Forest.
I don't know why I can see this being a goal fest. Teams around them, Forest, at the moment what I'm seeing with Forest, minus that Fulham result, the teams around and above them, they're grinding out draws and they're getting through the games for me, and that's just typical Nuno. We saw it when he was at the start of his Wolves career there.
Wood's on fire too.
Wood is on fire.
After bonfire night.
He had just after bonfire night, indeed. He reminds me of Jimenez under the same system under Nuno Espirito Santo. I'm going to say there's going to be a goal fest 2-2.
Wow.
Desmond's. But anyway, another 2 o'clock one, Spurs against Ipswich. Spurs looked incredible last time around against Villa, but we just don't know what team Spurs is going to bring out as well. Ipswich have hit a bump in the road, but have been able to salvage another point last time around against Leicester. Could have potentially won it at the end of the day, but it's hard to tell. Like I still can't make a fair assessment of them at the moment, just because I haven't seen what they play like in a victory, and some of the teams they're playing. It's just a bit too inconsistent, but I'm going to keep it low, 1-0 Spurs.
Ipswich still winless. It's them and Wolves who haven't actually chalked up a victory at all this season. Coming up against the Spurs side, I think they'll all take all 3 points at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where they're really, really strong. I think Ipswich, with Delap up front, he's always likely to score, isn't he? Like a big, strong lad up front, and Leif Davies took his goal last week as well. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Spurs. And the final fixture of this game week, 4:30, live on Sky in the UK. We've got Chelsea coming up against Arsenal, and it's we don't know if Cole Palmer is going to be involved in this fixture. I don't think he's trained up until Wednesday.
Bad news for Chelsea.
Yeah, he hasn't trained up until Wednesday, so we'll have to wait and see. They're not playing until Sunday, of course. Of course, he's not involved in any European action because he's not in the squad. Arsenal going to have to pull their fingers out a bit, aren't they? Currently in 5th position. It's a loss, a draw and a loss in their last 3 fixtures, and in this one I can't see them winning. Chelsea strongish at home, currently in fourth position.
But they're inconsistent as well.
They are so inconsistent, so I'm going to have to sit on the fence. I think this is going to end up all square, but it wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal win this one.
Yeah, this is tough because you've got an Arsenal out of form, you've got an inconsistent Chelsea. Historically, this is tough. Nicolas Jackson.
Really get on the score sheet.
I really don't know what to go for, but Arsenal have to stop the rot somewhere. I think this is a game that they do it, but again, I'm not sure. I'm going to give Arsenal the benefit of the doubt at the moment, just with the Cole Palmer injury. They've got quality there, Chelsea, but I don't know. 2-1 to the Gunners.
You've got to think as well, Arsenal are away to Inter Milan.
Tough game, that is.
Real tough match.
Really tough.
Before they return to the weekend and Premier League action.
And Chelsea have had the rest, you see, with no European football.
So that's our predictions for game week 11. Make sure you leave your predictions over at the Superbru website. All the details are in the description, but also leave them as a comment as well, because we like to read each and every one of your comments. This weekend we've got an early kick-off, 12:30 on Saturday. At the Cardiff City Stadium. It's against Blackburn Rovers. Will there be a vlog?
Yeah, Saturday or Sunday, so check that out, guys.
Thank you very much. And then we move on to the international break. It's Wales against Iceland. Vlogs there, I hope.
Oh, yes.
As well, Nathan. Thank you. So thanks for joining me once again, Nathan. I know we've been busy. I'm a bit under the weather. Thank you for joining us as well. Enjoy the Premier League action on the weekend, and we'll see you all in the next video.
I'll keep hustling.